What's up, people? Today we're going to be talking about something called fatphobia. And right out the gate, I'm going to say this is all coming from a guy who could stand to lose a couple dozen pounds. Now, I do not condone making fun of anyone for their weight, but I do condone making fun of people who say stupid shit like this. Just look at it. Let it sink in. I'm not even going to acknowledge this high risk of injury in sports bullshit other than to say as a parent, you learn you run a high risk of injury by walking to the bathroom in the middle of the night to take a piss. Let alone the risk you take merely pulling out into traffic or stepping off the sidewalk to cross the street. Life's a gamble. It's no use diminishing your chances of making it through the day. I'll just say that God forbid a kid gets some exercise as opposed to sitting at a desk all day only to go home and sit in front of their fucking computer or Xbox.
Ma'am?
Yes, hon?
More Hot Pockets!
Has this world really become so ass backwards that there are people out there denigrating sports and exercise while simultaneously minimizing the dangers of obesity? I mean, I really wouldn't be so perturbed if this person were just honest and say they're lazy and gluttonous. I mean, that's what I say when my wife asks why I let myself go.
And this guy's saying, what do you want from me?
But as with everything these days, people just look for ways to say, it's not me that's wrong. Society is really to blame. I mean, just check out this article published last week in Generation for Rights Over the World, or GROW. I mean, fucking come on, man. It claims that diet culture, which they describe as a system of oppression that is, you guessed it, racist, sexist, and violent, is at the heart of fatphobia. While I can agree with something like BMI being a less than perfect metric to ascertain one's health, the gist of this article is essentially how societal standards just make people feel bad for being fat. In the section about medical fatphobia and institutional violences, they say, many fat people report stereotypical and guilt-inducing comments from health professionals who generally focus on their weight before anything else. You will die at 50. You will never have children. You need to lose weight. These are all hurtful and unjustified comments that prevent fat people from accessing health care for fear of being mocked and or mistreated. These same discriminations can be found in all specialities, gynecologists, endocrinologists, nutritionists, etc. These comments are all the more hurtful as health professionals are holders of an important form of authority. People trust them to maintain medical confidentiality and treat them without judgment. With these fatphobic comments, trust is broken and the role of the caregiver is misused. So what I'm to glean from this section of the article is essentially fat people don't want to go to the doctor because
they'll give us boo-boos on our feelings.
I mean, heart disease and diabetes are and have been for a very long time two of the leading causes of death here in the United States and worldwide. And one of their biggest contributing factors is obesity. And nowhere in this article does it give any evidence for any underlying causes for obesity, not even a low thyroid. Basically, it's just, we're fat, diets are bad, and how dare you say it's unhealthy. In this section on ineffective and harmful diets, they say, it is nevertheless proven that diets are the first causes of weight gain, with 95 to 98% of failure rate in the long term. I'll concede a bit here, regardless if this stat is true, and say that diets are typically bullshit. But having a proper diet isn't. If you go on a 2-week juice cleanse and then go right back to eating bacon ultimate cheeseburgers and curly fries 8 times a week, you're going to gain that weight back with interest. But if you change the way you eat as a whole and dedicate yourself to even minimal physical exertion, you could see your entire life change. Now, I'm sure there's some out there that would say I've merely internalized my fat phobia, but no, I understand the need for body positivity. My wife is a thicker girl, and she said to me several times what a boost it would have been for her self-esteem to see models with a body type more like her own when she was growing up. And I get that. But what I'm saying is there's a big difference between a bowl of oatmeal and a bowl of Jell-O. And if you look like this, it doesn't mean you're not beautiful. But it also doesn't mean your weight deserves to be celebrated just because you're happy with it. Just the same as Adele didn't deserve to be criticized because she lost some weight. And I find it funny that people with this mindset would be the first to criticize the wafy, heroin chic look of the 90s popularized by Kate Moss and the like as being unhealthy. But they'd be right to do so. because being too skinny can be every bit as dangerous as being overweight. So no, diabetes and heart disease are not punishments for being fat, but they sure as shit are potential consequences. And just because someone might want to avoid those doesn't mean that they're fat phobic. Maybe they just prefer a little more time here on this earth with their loved ones. And if you're someone who feels like you're being bullied to conform to the standards of a fat phobic society, maybe it's because, in spite of all that bullshit you may be spouting, you have loved ones who'd like to see you hang around a little while longer. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta hit the road.
Boom, baba,